welcome into the Rob Breaux Show. I am Rob Breaux. I am the host. You are the co-host. We also have two other co-hosts today. Carson is always joining for the Friday lunch stream, and Chase, a semi-knowledgeable runner of track, is also joining today. We have some experts in the world today. Notorious already chiming in, blaming Jackson Mahomes for the delay. We'll go with it.
You can pretty much blame Jackson Mahomes for anything these days.
I think so. I think that's how it goes. All right, Chase, let's start with you today. Welcome in. I need your credentials because obviously you don't need many credentials to get above Carson and I to talk about track and field. But
no.
For the people who don't know, what are your credentials with Wes Kitley and the boys?
So I guess I can just say I ran junior high track and I'm already more credentialed than you guys. Is that what it is?
I quit after one meet. My first meet on the backstretch of the 800. Done. See ya. I'm out.
Yeah, no, so, I'm originally from Arlington and went out to South Plains for a couple of years. Got to be a part of Coach Chris Bean's first couple of national titles at South Plains. And that man built a dynasty where they won, I think it was 10 outdoors in a row, and I was a part of his first one. They had a team run a 301 or 302 4x4 at one point in time. What they built was just crazy after I left, and I thought we were good. And then, I'm a Tech legacy guy. My dad went there. My brother went there. And at South Plains, I was teammates with Sally Kipiego. So I still think that's why I was recruited to Tech, was just to be her training partner. Which at 21 years old is demoralizing, but at 36 years old, it's like, hey, I got to roll with one of the fastest women in the world. That's pretty cool. And so, I was all Big 12 academic. And so I was a preferred walk-on. I built a good relationship with Coach Kitley, and we always just got along well, and I wanted to be at Tech. And so that's where I landed and did my undergrad and my master's there. And so, yeah, I've been a fan of the sport for 20 plus years now. I am that nerd that on Saturday, if there's basketball on and there's the Tech indoor track meet on ESPN Plus, I've probably got the track meet on my TV and the basketball game on my phone.
Fair enough. Well, this year, I think that was the proper choice, probably.
Fair.
Anyways, we're about halfway through, I guess, the national championship meet. Where does Texas Tech stand right now?
So what I hate saying is that it's so if you just go over to the results page and you look at it, it'll list the top 10 teams of men's and women's. And so if you just scroll to the top 10, you don't see Tech right now, but Tech is a day 2 points getter. That's what they are. And if we go have a day, we could probably get second place. I want to say first. But we just hit some snags, and Arkansas is like Georgia in football this year. Nobody was going to touch Georgia. It's just apparent. The fact that Ohio State took them where they did was incredible, but Arkansas won the indoor national title pretty handily, and it looks to be that way today. And it was one of those things of, if we could just have some false starts or some no marks from Arkansas, we got a really good shot. And then they had guys show up in the hurdles and run the day of their life. And now it's and we didn't get a hurdler in. So it's just all the things that we needed to go right didn't, and all things we needed to go wrong went better for them.
But there's still an opportunity to get on the podium.
Oh, podium, and that's it's just like basketball in that when you're in the Final Four, you win your region, you cut down a net, you get a trophy. It's the same thing in track. Top 4 teams get trophies. If Tech does everything possible right today, if our 4x1 is really good right now, they've been sitting around that 3 seed all season. It sucks that Terrence didn't make the 100-meter final, but that makes his legs fresher for the 4x1. And so if they could sneak in and they could get first, they could get second, that really helps points. If our triple hoe jumper can show up, he is the 16 seed, but I do believe that he can get into a points realm. And then also if we look at the 200 meter, Terrence isn't running the 100. He's only running the 4x1 and the 200. He is the 8 seed in the 200, but he has to be pissed because he was the favorite all year to win the 100. He won the 60 indoor. If he can go just absolutely destroy the 200, that can really help points out. to win this meet, you need between 55 and 65 points. I want to say Tech was a little over 60 or maybe even 70 points in 2019. Arkansas looks to be on track to get between about 59 to 62. We're on track to be in the 40s. And if we're in the 40s, that's a trophy. And it just goes to show, like I called into the pod back in last year after we lost in the Sweet 16. I said, like, I just from the track and field point of view, the amount of things that have to go right is insane. You need everyone to show up and have their best day and then have a few guys sneak in and get more points. And it just was Zach, and Zach is a heck of a pole vaulter. He was a heck of a transfer portal guy for us from Kansas. Tying for third when you were hoping at worst would be second. That's a difference of 2.5 points, and that's a big deal. Our hurdler that we got out of Maryland, another transfer portal guy, because Kitley knows how to portal. He didn't make the 110 hurdles, but he is still a really good 400-meter hurdle guy, and he's also only a junior, so we get him back next year as well. I think this team is built for next year. We're losing Courtney, we're losing Zach, but then there's also that his last name escapes me, or this might be his first name, is Anthony, the kid out of Kentucky that got second in the 60-meter hurdles that football is also trying to get, and track and field wants to. And we have a lot of young hurdlers. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that Joey McGuire's recruited because of his speed, and he's one of those guys that translates really well for Coach Kitley onto the track and field. And we've seen that a lot with Texas Tech football players. I mean, Keyshawn Carter left, but he was one of your better sprinters whenever he was there playing football and track and field. I think there's those two entities can work really well together, and you're seeing the sprint work. And I mean, you got Terrence Jones too. And is that surprising to you that he didn't make the finals in the 100? Just because of what he has done this year?
Oh, I mean, he ran if he hadn't celebrated, he would have broke the collegiate record in the 60. Which I don't care. Celebrate all you want. If I was that fast, I would have jogged in backwards. Kitley called him. He goes, "That's my Usain Bolt." And I mean, he could take down Divine's records, and if he can do that, like Kitley is on record as saying this is one of the best track and field athletes to have ever, period, is Divine, and Terrence is coming up against that. But if you also remember, Divine also had a meet like that in indoors that same year where he missed the 200-meter final, and then he came out to outdoors and destroyed it. And hopefully Terrence can just find this to be what he does in the 200 today and the 4x1 today, but also moving forward. The kid's only a sophomore. Yeah. I mean, the kid's not even old enough to drink alcohol. Look how damn fast he is.
And he's ran what, the second fastest time in the world this year? Is that correct?
I think it's 991.
Yeah.
Now, granted, the European track circuit starts up pretty heavy here in a week or two, is when we're going to start seeing that. And we're going to start seeing some fast times coming out. But I mean, for these collegiate kids to be running 990s, it's incredible. Even if you look at the high school kids right now, we've had 3 kids break the 4-minute mile in the mile this year. We had 1 kid run a 13:35 5,000 this year. That would have won the NCAA's back when I was in college, and this is an 18-year-old running 13:35. These kids are getting faster, but back to your point, Kitley kind of referenced this a little bit, and this is kind of, I feel like he's talking about back when I was there 15 years ago, but I don't want to accuse it of that. The sports community at Tech right now is so much tighter than what it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. We had one guy that played football and ran track. Now, look at Miguel Dingle. Mm-hmm. That kid shows up, runs unattached, and then gets 4th or 5th indoors at Big 12s. That kid is a freak. You're not supposed to be that big and run that fast over hurdles. It doesn't work that way. So the fact that these teams are senior in high together, school. Thank you for making the point for me. I forgot that.
2 weeks with him, and it was like, all right, I'll run.
Yeah. I mean, it's like he brought his high school spikes. He didn't even get anything from Kitley. He wore just, workout gear for the football. He should have run it in pads. That would have been more impressive.
Even the playing field.
So, no, this is a heck of a team Kitley has this year, but this is one of those meets of I felt like going into this, everybody was fighting for second place. Unless Arkansas just fell apart, everybody false started and no marked. This was just that meet today and this weekend. And I do love how they divide it up, that it's men's one day and women's one day. Everybody gets highlighted. Everybody runs at nighttime, especially being down in Austin heat right now. I wish we could have repeated down there one more time, because that's where we won our last one, was in Austin, which is always a fun thing to do. So, this, and I'm interested to see what happens with Big 12 track and field moving forward. We're bringing in Houston. They are no joke. I think it was 2018. They would have won the national title if their steeplechaser hadn't fallen down. Bringing in them track and field, bringing in BYU cross country. They have an older team. I mean, they have guys go on their mission, come back, and it takes them a year or so to get back into it.
When they're in great shape, they've walked all those miles.
Exactly. Ridden the bikes with the tie on.
Yeah.
And to see, and also, hey, if we expand and we pick up Colorado, we're going to have a really nasty cross country with Colorado back, BYU, and Oklahoma State. Those are 3 national powers in cross country. To have those 3 in the same conference would be incredible.
What about the other teams, UCF, Cincinnati? Do they bring anything in track and field?
No. They just don't. It's one of those things of, like, me being the selfish track and field runner at Tech, where it's like we have one of the best indoor facilities in the country. I'm like, but what about the outdoor facility? It's like UCF. It's like, I think they need to work on getting past metal bleachers at their football field before they start worrying about a track team is where they are. You're gonna have guys that pop up, and they're gonna be an All-American type, but an overall team, I feel like Houston is going to be really good, but the other 3, BYU is going to have a great cross-country team and solid track, but Cincinnati and UCF can get really good just based upon location of where they are. I mean, Florida is just, they have great track runners there from sprints to long distance. They just do.
I wonder if that's one of those things. We talk about recruiting in the Big 12 with football all the time and basketball, where players want to go there to compete in the Big 12. You think that'll be a similar jump for at least UCF, and maybe?
I think it will be, for sure, for Houston. I mean, they're already good. They're already a threat in a lot of ways, especially in the sprints. They have an amazing coach. They have good facilities there for them. I do believe. I mean, I believe it in football too. Out of the 4 coming in, I really think that UCF in football, give them a few years to just kind of build some depth, and they're going to be really annoying in the future, even more annoying than their fans are. And then like Cincinnati, I don't know how serious they are about track and field. I've never heard anything much about them, to be honest.
Fair. Well, and you really don't. I mean, you really don't hear about those schools from the AAC. You hear about them in football, you hear about them in basketball because it's an even playing field. But I do feel like maybe, and this just popped into my head. You talked about the outdoor facility. We always talk about moving the baseball stadium across into that empty field across from Jones. What if they built a brand new outdoor track facility, and then you have all this space behind the baseball stadium that's currently there to build berms and stretch roads and do all this stuff? You wouldn't have that outdoor track right there. That'd be best for both programs, in my opinion.
I think you could talk me into it based upon design. You can, but the nostalgia of running on the inside of on the inside of some buildings and seeing the buildings while you're running, is why I want to move baseball, is because so baseball can get off that area and we can move the hammer throw and the discus right back next to the track, and baseball can move. Because I mean, you're talking about getting rid of metal bleachers for baseball. There's a lot of just start over. Build another sky bridge over that road from the new baseball indoor facility, training facilities. Give us another sky bridge. But you could talk me into moving the track. I don't know if you can talk Kitley into moving the track. His opinion weighs more than mine.
And you're talking about Arkansas. Arkansas just built a great facility for baseball and for track that are kind of housed near the same area. And that would be down the right field line at Dan Law, Rip Griffin Park for the newbies at the Law. You could have built an immaculate just facility for track and field and for baseball all in the same thing. instead of going down the left field line. Then you can move baseball back a little ways. Like you said, you can tear down everything and build right there where that parking lot is. Nobody's paying $28 to park in that parking lot anyway, except for Don Williams. He gets his parking spot. But, I think that's what they should have done, because I love the track where it is. Being in that, growing up as a kid, my dad was an assistant SID at Tech, going and running on that track. I've always thought that was the coolest track and field setup in between all the buildings. The engineering buildings are right there. Everything is just so enclosed, and it gets loud when you get the crowds in there and you get big meets in, and it's awesome. And that was one. And then being around Corky was always fun too in that stadium. So that always brings me back nostalgia. That's where I go back to is those days.
Yeah. No, God, Corky. Good name drop there, buddy.
Oh my goodness. He's my favorite right there, man.
Yeah. He was something special. And no, because like that's what it is like, and I like how it's tucked in just based upon wind as well too. It helps block some of that. But I mean, you never know what you could do with the track of how it could be built up. But it's one of those things of doing something like that's going to cost tens of millions of dollars to build it the right way. And in Arkansas, I mean, they have always been ahead. It's them and Oregon have always been ahead of everybody else facility wise for track. Oregon is one of the top tracks in the world. If you've seen it, Rob. Have you seen what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
that place is the new Hayward Field. That place is incredible. Yeah, we'll go tailgate there next year.
yeah.
275 million.
Nike money, baby.
So it's nostalgia for sure. I like where it's placed for wind, and I think that baseball, if you moved him out and he angled it the right way, wind wise, could actually help baseball even more too with more home runs.
Yeah, I agree.
So on the schedule today, what are we watching out for? Who we tuning in for today?
So the 4x1 for Tech for sure. Right now we're the 3 seed. It's always interesting when you get in the finals. If you look at the paper, we're going to get third. But it also comes down to people drop batons. People have bad handoffs. And Tech has been consistently running that time all year. And Terrence not running the 100, that's going to make him, a little fresher for that. Also, Courtney Lindsay in the 100. I did not know if he was going to make the 100. He could probably get 4th or 5th, but for him being a senior, him making the final in that and the 200, this is just a special meet for him. I'm really happy for that guy. Terrence in the 200 is going to be something really fun to watch as well too. And then we don't have any guys in there, and neither does Arkansas. But the 1500 should be a really good meet this year. There's a lot of really good guys in there. Expected to be very tactical, where first lap is more jockeying just for position, and then the last 800 meters is just going to be a dogfight. That should be a really, really good one. And if you just want to watch something fun, hopefully everybody knows what the steeplechase is. That's just a fun race to watch. And so it's 3,000 meters. You're going over 5 barriers a lap, one with a water pit. That is a man's race. I ran it my freshman year and found out I wasn't a man. And so it's a tough one. Because not only do you have to be a really good distance runner, you have to have really good middle distance speed when you're going over those barriers to keep your cadence going.
Yeah, and I guess the 4x100, they ran a school record in the prelims, right? I can't remember. It was sub 40.
38:20.
Oh, that's quick. Yeah.
Just a little fast.
If you can win that and get the points there, and then Courtney gets you where you think he can finish in the 100, you get those points. Like you said, you could end up getting second, I think, at the end of the day, which, like you said, Arkansas is going to win. Nobody didn't. If you thought Arkansas wasn't going to win, then you haven't been following track and field at all, and you've been living under a rock. But yeah, that's something that we talked about, I think, a couple of weeks ago, Rob, when we started talking about the regional track and field stuff, was how good Arkansas was going to be in the national meet. But if you could get second place, I think that feels like a pretty good finish this year, considering what Arkansas looks like. I mean, they're just dominant.
They in the past they've had some teams stripped of titles because of cheating. Well, now they get to do it legally with NIL, and they
Yeah,
are
you can
pumping
pay
it
'em
into
what
that
you
track
want.
team. They have a tradition. They love track and field there. They host one of the best indoor meets in the country. They have a great outdoor facility. They pump the money into that program. And so they've just built a monster. And the thing is that I have full faith in Kitley moving forward as the conference changes to continue to win Big 12 titles. I mean, this is a heck of a year. Winning an indoor and an outdoor title, setting a Big 12 record. Nebraska had some really salty teams back in the day, setting a Big 12 record in points at not one of my favorite tracks. OU's track, at least when I ran it, was trash. And for them to
It
go out
didn't
and
look
set
good
points on that
this year
track was
either.
amazing.
Yeah, it didn't look good this year either.
Might have lost Chase.
Yep, might have lost Chase. But,
Oh,
I mean,
Am I here?
there he is.
Back.
Yeah, Oklahoma's track looked
Back.
bad this year too. It did not look like it was it looked like a don't take this the wrong way, but it looked like a junior college track at South Plains or somewhere like now. South Plains' track is probably faster than OU's now. It's nice, but yeah,
I just remember OU's track feeling like a wet sponge. That's what I remember about it, and I feel like it's like even dirtier, wetter sponge now because I feel like they probably haven't replaced. I could be wrong. I hope there's hatred in the comments for this. I don't care. I don't like OU. I don't like their track team. I didn't like getting spiked by them and elbows thrown. So I don't care. Screw them.
Don't have to worry about it much longer.
no.
No, they can go to the abyss of the SEC, and all their programs are going to go downhill.
Yeah,
Except
they
for
will get
gymnastics. I'm
smoked.
sorry.
Yeah, gym they'll win.
And softball.
Yeah, and softball. Yeah. Softball. Their softball team is kind of like Arkansas's track team, just really dominant. Nobody was gonna touch them this year.
Well, she had Patty Gasso has 7 national championships.
Yeah, yeah, 3 in a row.
3 in a row. They won like their last 50-something games.
They won 53 in a row, 54 in a row. Yeah, that's
like that UConn women's basketball.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
unreal. I mean, it's unreal what they're doing.
Yeah, and no one, and of course, going into next year in softball, no one's ever won 4 in a row in women's Division I college softball. So that'll be
And they play all their championships at home.
Yeah.
Pretty close. All right, Chase, do you have any final thoughts on the track? You're more than welcome to stay the whole show, but just didn't want to.
Oh no, I've got a baby downstairs. I'm going to help the wife out. But no, this has been a great year for the track team. I'm really excited the direction Kitley's got this thing going in the future they have. And also, I want to give one shout out. I went back and looked at the books since the inauguration of the Big 12 in '95, whatever it was. Texas Tech has never had a white guy place in the 5,000 of the conference meet. EJ Rush, hell of a job, buddy. Like all of us old track and field guys that were cross country kids that were just trying to make the conference team to go score points. Me and my buddies, we have a cross country chat. We applaud you, sir, that you're going to break the 4-minute mile next year. Just really proud of you. But Courtney Lindsay, go have a day, man. Go have fun, a fun senior day today, and let's see if Tech can lower the 4x1, school record and go win a title in that at least.
That'd be awesome. Appreciate it.
They run a sub 38. That'd be sick.
Yeah, that's knocking on the door of LSU's probably steroided team, but
yeah.
All right, guys. I'll see you next year about this time probably because this is the only thing I'm knowledgeable of. So.
Maybe for the Olympics too.
All right, then, and just a plug, Built Bars, Casey, they're not bad. So,
shameless
marketing work.
Later, guys.
Thanks, Chase.
All right, let's hit Ludvig Aberg. That was Chase Wade there, the knowledgeable runner. Ludvig teeing off today. He's through 2. He was up near the top yesterday. Technically tied for, 19th today, but everyone's -3, it seems like. So he's 2 strokes off the lead. Nope. Oh, man. Carl Jan has gone to -8 today, but he's through 17.
Oh, okay. So he's almost done with his round. Yeah.
Yeah. Aberg has just started. A couple at -7, couple at -6, -5, -4, and then you get to -3. But Aberg still in his first meet ever. tied for 19th. He was playing college golf a week ago and is now in the PGA. How cool is it to have that PGA Tour card right off the press and get to go and play PGA golf right after you finish your college golf?
Yeah, that's something that, you definitely have to take advantage of. And I think Ludvig had such a prolific college career. It didn't end the way he wanted it to. Obviously, he didn't play well at Greyhawk, but then you go and you play, you teed up for your first professional time, and you go out there and you play like you've been on the tour for a little while. Like it doesn't, and we've seen him play in a couple majors this year. We've seen him play in a couple other tournaments as an amateur, but I think that experience helps tremendously with where he's at now versus if he hadn't played in any of those tournaments. If he hadn't played as well, obviously you have to be playing pretty well to get those invites to go to those tournaments. But without that experience, I don't think that he's doing that well in the RBC this weekend. Plus, the dude's just really freaking good. He can put it straight. And
his drive on 3 was 335.
Is that good? I can get it 335 but hit the cart path and get some front roll.
Yeah, it'd probably take me 3 shots to get 335, 158 out.
Yeah, I'm hitting an iron off the tee anyway. The driver doesn't go straight.
So he parred the first 2. A bunch of par 4s on the front 9, so he'll be
Alan Corbin says the Saudis take over the PGA and things get easier, especially in Canada. Alan,
I wonder
they give everybody everything for free.
I wonder what that'll look like moving forward, because you get your tour card. What do the payouts look like? What does the PGA look like? It's all uncertain right now. Are they going to go to certified money? Are they going to go to everybody gets a paycheck and then you make money for the winning? We'll see.
Yeah, I think that the PGA, of course, they came out and said Live Golf is staying with what they've been doing. They said it's not going anywhere. We're going to finish everything. We're going in for next year. We've already scheduled everything. Everything's still go for the Live Golf Tour. Ludvig's one of those guys that I guarantee you they come to him with a bag, like a bag full of money, because he's going to be that hot name, kind of like they came to Victor Hovland and they came to those guys and said, hey,
Mito Pereira is already over there.
Yeah, Mito's already over there. That's what I mean. Like Mito, he's played really well in some tournaments. He's had some tournaments where he doesn't make cuts, but I mean, that's just golf. But that to me, like, what is the PGA going to do now that it's owned by the same entity? It's going to be different. I don't know how it's going to look, but it's an interesting look forward, like to try and predict the future of what golf's going to look like is going to be. I think the PGA Tour stays the exact same. I think you got to keep it the way it is. But then if you want to go make your money, you go to Live and you can play off of the salary. But then now can you just come right back to the PGA Tour if you want to? Or now it's going to be easier to play in the majors. I mean, that's the best part about this whole thing is you're going to get all the dudes to play in the majors. And can you pick and choose tournaments that you go play in? If you're a Live Golf player, like, can you go play in the Players Championship, even though that's not a major? Can you go play in that if you want to play? Because that's a prestigious tournament. It's like the 5th major, but it's not a major. You know what I mean?
Right. It is, but it isn't.
It is, but it isn't. Yeah.
He's also, by the way, Ludvig Aberg, head to toe in Adidas.
Yeah. How about that?
Athlete. Now you have arguably your 2 biggest athletes right now from Texas Tech in their respective sports, Adidas.
Do you think Pat had anything to do with that?
I don't know, but if he
did,
hey
boys,
if he did, hopefully he has something to do with Texas Tech going back to Adidas or to Adidas. I don't know that they've ever been Adidas.
Basketball was Adidas when Bob Knight was here. Football has never been Adidas. Baseball has been Adidas.
So go back to full sport Adidas. A lot of people don't like Adidas, but it seems dumb to me to not partner with Mahomes.
I don't like football Adidas as much as I like Nike or Under Armour football, but I mean, if Adidas is going to pay you out the rear end and Pat Mahomes is your backer and you're going to have all, wear his brand name recognition, like they could start a whole new thing. Jordan has his own has the jerseys with a few teams. Maybe Texas Tech starts off with the Mahomes brand and they do something completely different. And that's how they release that brand. Like that would be, that's a recruiting tool. Look, we're the only team that wears this.
And
we're
what
the only
be if you weren't the first.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's big time. Remember when Oregon did all that stuff? Like they were the first team to ever like push the envelope as far as the jersey game went. And now everybody does it. Like after Oregon started doing it and everybody started doing it because they're like, oh crap. Now we gotta get on the ball. I think that has a lot to do with it. But Ludvig and all Adidas, I mean, he's probably getting paid a hefty penny to wear their stuff. And I'm sure he's rocking TaylorMades and he's going to, I'm sure after he finished his round at Greyhawk on the last day, he had just sheets of paper to sign his name on and make money. Like that was it.
So he shot a 69 yesterday. He's even today. We will be paying attention to him the rest of the day. I do want to talk about the Texas Rangers too. But first, college baseball. Is TCU this year's Oklahoma? Like, are they just going to go to Omaha? They're going to shred Indiana State, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
more than two. I mean, it's at home now.
Yeah, they're playing at TCU.
Which made sense to me, and I'm glad Indiana State didn't try to pull a Lexington. They certainly could have. I know you hated that.
God, what a travesty.
But you just don't have enough hands on deck in Terre Haute, so you move it to Fort Worth. I would have liked to have seen maybe a special circumstance in the middle kind of thing, but I also like these super regionals at home, and TCU certainly has earned it over the last month, in my opinion, to earn a hosting job, even though Indiana State won their regional. I think they'll smoke them. I think there are a few other teams that I'm very high on right now. Florida, I think, will win their super regional. I think you'll see them.
With their arms, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
plus I don't think South Carolina can sweep them twice. Win 2 out of 3 after they swept them early in the year.
No, and that is a good matchup for South Carolina in that respect. But it's really hard to beat a team twice. It's really hard to beat a team 5 times.
Yes, and especially Florida.
Yeah,
and I think they throw Sproat in game 1 because it's Saturday start, right? They start their game 1 tomorrow, right? Or no, that's game 2. They start today.
Yeah,
you're right. Their game 1 is today. So, but I still think they go with Sproat and then with Waldrop and then Caglione if they have to.
Well, the way that freshman started, I wouldn't be surprised to see him and then Caglione coming out of the bullpen.
I think South Carolina swings it a little bit better than Texas Tech, but yeah, I agree. You might see the freshman start.
I mean,
Walters, what was his name?
Yeah, something like that.
Doesn't matter what his name was. His name's Daddy.
Thurston Waldrop.
His name. That's Waldrop is the kid who started against UConn in the elimination game.
Oh, that's right.
The freshman that started against Tech in that first one, they won, that Florida won.
Yes.
Tech calls him Daddy now. Yeah. He shoved.
And he did it for a long time and on very few pitches.
Yeah. He was really good that day.
And I thought they were going to pull him at 60, and then he went 80, I think.
Yeah.
So
I think he threw 85, 86. Yeah, somewhere in there.
His career high.
It's pretty good.
No worries. It's all
Alan asks if you get poutine in your trophy if you win the RBC. I would hope so.
Yeah, I'm sure
have to get
some
poutine.
kind of cup. Yeah. You could probably do it yourself.
Just throw the fries and gravy, cheese curds.
Do you have any final thoughts on this year's baseball team? I've already given mine and on a couple of different platforms, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to wrap up this year and look forward to next year because I've got some thoughts on next year as well.
I think your young talent, especially with Washburn coming back next year, and he'll be able to get a medical red shirt, I think. So he'll still have 3 years left if he needs them. He'll probably be one of those guys that gets drafted before he gets to his last year. But the young talent that you have coming back. You feel really good about what you saw from Tracer Lopez, especially who he should have been a high school senior this year, even though he didn't play in the regional. He must have been hurt because he's coaching first base like in that game after Goot got tossed, and that just basically tells you that he was not ready to go. He wasn't going to go. You like what you saw from Will Burns, and there's a plethora of other guys. The only thing that you were disappointed in were the arms this year a little bit, other than Mason Molina and at times Free and Taberfast and Beckel. But everybody else is just kind of hit and miss. So
the end,
you've got to get better.
Robinson and Zane Betty were pretty good again over their last couple of starts.
Yeah, they weren't bad, but you've got to be more consistent. You've got to find a starting rotation Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You just had so many different starters. Like Mason Molina was your Friday night guy. Everybody knew that. But Saturday and Sunday, it was kind of like, who are we going to get today? And it didn't matter who you threw out there. It's what are you going to get? Who are you going to get? And all those things. And Brendan Girton, I think at the end of the day, I don't know that starting him was the best idea. I think he's better in the back end of the bullpen. He's obviously now in the transfer portal, which talked to him the other day. And I think that's a move where it's just one of those things where you have to make that move. It didn't work coming off of injury, and who knows, he might end up back here, but he's going to go find success somewhere, and he throws so hard he'll have a chance at the next level too. But you just got to throw more strikes. It comes down to competing better.
Do you think it's an opportunity for Brendan Girton at the age he's at? If somebody does draft him in the 17th round, because he goes 96, he goes, right?
You just go. Yeah, because it's better to start your pro career than try and go resurrect something that's you're trying to find in college somewhere. And if you have one more bad year,
right,
then or you get hurt again or whatever it might be because you're pressing too much or whatever, you can get to pro ball. They can rehab you. They can figure things out. And if you get that sort of clinician work and all those things, because it's a lot more one-on-one work in pro ball than it is teamwork like you are in college, right? They have tons of guys, especially when you go to extended spring out of the draft and everything.
Right. Arizona.
Arizona League. You go to the Arizona Fall League, you get tons of clinic work. And I think that would be the best thing for him if he gets drafted or has an opportunity to go to the next level somewhere. You definitely jump at that for sure.
Chris says, who does Tech lose to the draft? Brennan Beckel.
Yeah. And Mason Molina is draft eligible, but he's also a left-hander that doesn't throw. Actually, is he draft eligible? I think he is.
He's a sophomore.
But is he a 21-year-old sophomore?
I don't think you have any sophomores that are of age.
I thought Molina was draft eligible, but I could be very wrong.
Maybe Molina's another one. Maybe.
But Molina is also one of those guys where I think that he's a left-hander. He's got good numbers in college, but his fastball tops out at 90. His stuff is good, but it's not plus. His 1, his 2 and 3. But he's a sophomore. It doesn't say he's a red shirt. It is his second year, so I don't know. It's a good point. He may not be draft eligible, which would be great.
He is, let's see, according to Perfect Game, he's 19 and 11 months.
Okay, good. So he's not draft eligible.
Yeah, so I don't.
He's 19 and 11. Oh, so he's almost 20. Okay,
yeah, he's
cool. Yeah. But yeah,
he'll be 20 by the time the draft rolls around, but still you have to be 21.
Who can you money whip from Dallas Baptist? You could go get your boy back, Rob.
Yeah, Nate Romback.
He had a pretty good regional.
He had a home run in the regional final.
Yeah, he did. He had a pretty good regional. I mean, in that game that they just drubbed Oklahoma State, which I'm not a big DBU fan, but whenever they're playing Oklahoma State, I kind of am. And when anybody's playing Oklahoma State, I kind of am in baseball. Yeah. Really, the only thing that I don't hate Oklahoma State in is basketball, but that's just because their coaching staff. I have a lot of respect for those guys, but everybody else can lose. Don't care. But yeah, I think that here's the thing. College baseball is one of those things like Indiana State. Nobody saw Indiana State at the beginning of the year being this regional host, anything like that. Oral Roberts has been really, really, really good this year. That could be a place where Brennan Girton ends up, actually, because he's from Oklahoma. He's from Shattuck, Oklahoma, which is not far from Stillwater, so he could end up at Oklahoma State. We could be seeing him in the Big 12 for the next 2 years if he does stay around and stay in the Big 12. But yeah, I think that in the draft, you're not going to lose a ton of guys in the draft this year like you have in the past years. You're going to lose some recruits in the draft.
You were really young.
Yeah. And you're going to lose some recruits in the draft, but you're not going to lose like big guys. You know, the main guy, Beckel's the only guy that jumps off the page. Like he's not coming back.
So your whole infield eligible to come back, plus Will Burns, who didn't start a bunch of games. Washburn and Harrelson look to be a right fielder and center fielder. You'll probably go get a left fielder in the transfer portal. You could give Drew Woodcox an opportunity in left field.
Yeah.
If I was filling out the lineup card for game 1 next year, I'd put Hudson White at second base, Kevin Bazell at catcher, Travis Sanders, who didn't play this year because of injury, at third base. Flip a coin, Tracer Lopez or Will Burns at shortstop. Maybe one of those guys can play left field.
Yeah.
Austin Green, DH. And then Mason Molina, K-Rob, and Zane Petty as your rotation. I'm feeling pretty good about that.
If Kyle Robinson can be the guy that we saw against Florida the other day next year, not every start, obviously. You're not going to be great every start. Guys that get paid $30 million a year to throw a baseball aren't great every start. But if Kyle Robinson can do that 80% of the time next year and in most of his Big 12 starts, and Mason Molina can be Mason Molina, and you get Robinson and then Petty on Saturday or whoever, who'd you say, Sanders?
Petty.
Did you say Petty? Okay, yeah. So you go Molina, Robinson, Petty. I feel pretty good about that starting rotation going into next year. Now, I also felt pretty good about what it looked like when Micah Dallas was coming back in his sophomore year, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah,
he was really good at A&M last year.
You might go find a Patrick Monteverdi or a transfer like that, a Bryce Bonin, Brandon Birdsell, I think was a transfer.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was a JUCO guy, yeah, but he went from A&M to JUCO to Texas Tech.
So go find some of those guys, and you'll be in a really good position. Are there a lot of guys wanting to transfer out of the baseball program? Define a lot.
Yeah, define a lot. I mean, you're going to have dudes that you've already seen, I think 4, maybe 5 now.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5
that have gone into the portal, and Hayde Key is one of them. We talked about Brennan Girton. He's one of them. Yeah. Those are 2 guys. Brennan obviously pitched early in the year. We didn't see him late in the year.
Didn't perform.
Hayde Key is one of those guys that pitched in the midweek some, but didn't pitch on the weekends unless things were getting bad.
Hayde Key didn't pitch at all this year.
He didn't pitch at all.
He had Tommy John.
Okay, yeah. So that he's transferring.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if he threw any or not. That's how much he didn't throw.
I don't know. I don't know that he threw last year.
And then your freshman outfielder,
Jarrett Curtis.
Yes, thank you, Curtis. He's transferring. I'm sure you have a couple more on there, but yeah. I mean,
a lot meaning a good handful of starters and or rotational guys. No. I don't think any starters will transfer.
No, I don't either. Yeah, I don't see anybody leaving. Jarrett Curtis started a couple games just because Dylan Carter got hurt, but that was when you're trying to figure out your outfield and all those things. But yeah, I think, and what he brought to the table was speed. If he pans out somewhere, which he will, he'll be a leadoff guy by the time he's a junior, a junior or a senior, if he makes it that far before he gets drafted, just because he's so fast. And major league scouts love that stuff. Like, if you can hit a little bit, they don't care if you're fast. They can't teach speed that much. But yeah, he'll be good somewhere. He'll be a leadoff guy somewhere. I don't know where he'll end up. He might end up at Dallas Baptist. Who knows? But yeah, I think with where you're at, you're not going to see Harrelson leave. You're not going to see any of these guys leave. They're just going to get older and they're going to get better. This has a feeling kind of like where Tim started. You had a pretty old team that first year you went to Omaha, and then you got younger the next year and you weren't great. And then the next year, that's whenever you really started picking up steam in 2016 or 2014, 2015. Because you went in 14 or 13, 15, 16. Trying to remember all the years that you've been to Omaha now, but yeah.
14, 16, 18, 19.
14, 16, 18, 19. I knew you went back to back. It was always even or odd years. You always went in the even years from 14, but yeah, it kind of has a feeling like it did in 2016 after the 15 season. We're very young, and now you keep the boat moving. You just keep that moving, and then like we talked, you didn't have the transfer portal then. Now you can add a couple dudes in the transfer portal, especially bullpen guys. I think you really have to add in to that back end of the bullpen. I think that's what you really have to go out and get. And another thing is I don't know pitching development wise how good you are on the staff. So maybe making changes there. I don't think you will, but
open up the worms there. I don't think you
I'm all for it.
I know you are. All right. Let's move on to the Texas Rangers. Somebody asked earlier, do y'all think John Daniels deserves credit for how well the Texas Rangers and the Tampa Bay Rays are doing? He's a front office guy for the Rays. He deserves maybe 20% credit for the Rangers, but they did a bunch of moves after he was out of the front office in kind of a reserved role as president. Chris Young deserves a ton of credit for what the Rangers are doing, and the Rays were good before he got there. So, yeah, I think John Daniels deserves a bunch of credit. Certainly, he is in the mix in both of those situations. But I don't think John Daniels is baseball god, how some people think of him.
Agreed, Tyler Branham. He refuses to give John Daniels credit. I refuse to give John Daniels any credit. The only thing I give John Daniels credit for is running the Rangers back into the ground, into the cellar from being so good all those years. And then you trade everybody off and you don't sign players back. You don't sign the right guys. You make the wrong moves.
Trying to compete and refusing to tank a year.
Yeah, exactly. And
by signing Corey Kluber and giving away Emmanuel Clase.
That still bothers me. Still bothers me that Clase is not our closer right now. Like if Emmanuel Clase is your closer, you've won 4 more games. You sweep the Reds. Yeah. You swept the Reds if Emmanuel Clase is your closer. It's that simple. And John Daniels was the guy who got rid of Emmanuel Clase for Corey Kluber, who was dog turds.
Do you know who? Well, he got hurt.
Yeah.
Do you know who deserves credit this year? Bruce Bochy.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, that talking to just a few of the guys that know Josh Young and are friends with Josh, that hang out with him a lot, played with him at Texas Tech. They said that Josh said that's the closest locker room he's ever been in pro baseball. And that says a lot. And you can see it. And Adolis Garcia even said it in English yesterday after the game that they're running around and they're playing like a bunch of kids. It feels like when Elvis Andrus and Adrian Beltre and those guys were just having fun in the locker room. And who was it? Mitch Garver that came in and said, that he's heard a bunch of stories about how awesome the Texas, the locker room is at the new park. And how great the camaraderie is in the locker room and all these things. He's like, dude, it's even better than what I expected it to be. And Mitch Garver has been hurt the whole time he's been here and hadn't even played that much. So
as Adolis said, they play with Yoy.
Yeah, play with Yoy. Yeah, we play with a lot of Yoy.
At least John Daniels is really good at finding old talent, and they get hurt. And when they come here, they were good at one time, so I'll give them that. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, almost.
I will say too, I know DeGrom got hurt this year, and I know that's an occurrence. But you signed him as a free agent, yes?
Yeah, you signed him as a free agent for
that's
10
a different
years.
Deal. For 5 years?
5 years? Okay. What was the Seager was the 10-year deal.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't have any issue with that.
No.
And I know he got hurt again, and I really wish he could have come back at the end of the year and been a bullpen piece.
Here's the thing, though,
awesome.
is even though DeGrom has been out, what has he really done for you this year to make you the team that you are right now? I mean, obviously you want DeGrom in your rotation, but
he was 6-0, but you've won 25 games since he hasn't played.
Right. So that, and you've won what, 20 of your last 24, 25, something like that. That's not bad, boys and girls.
No,
that's not bad at all for a team that nobody gave a chance to. I mean, they thought they'd be better than the A's in this division. That's it.
Yeah. And if you come back to this weekend, it's the John Daniels Bowl.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to have the best record in baseball come Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. It's the two best records in baseball coming up and playing each other this weekend. Nobody in the whole entire major leagues has more wins than Tampa Bay and Texas, and Tampa Bay and Texas have more wins on their record than the A's have and the Cubs have combined, and the Kansas City Royals, because they've only won 18 games.
That's tough.
Both of those teams have won 40 plus. Tampa Bay's won 46 games. Of course, the day we saw them in Chicago when we were there last week. They lost 1-0. They lost 1-0 to Marcus Stroman, who I can't stand, but he threw an absolute gem that day. Yeah, 46-19 are the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
Oh, well, then you'll be within 3 if you sweep them.
Yeah. Yeah, Tampa Bay has won.
I didn't realize
they've won 6. They've won 6 straight. They're 7-3 of their last 10.
Yeah.
Texas is 7-3 of their last 10. The Rangers, lost last night, but
2 nights ago, yeah.
Yeah, 2 nights ago. They didn't play last night, but yeah.
You're 9 games in front of the Central.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the AL Central is
Astros.
The AL Central, there's nobody that has a winning record in the AL Central.
That is crazy.
And then everybody but Boston has a winning record in the American League East. They're 1 game behind 500. They're 31-32. That would be leading the American League Central, tied for the lead with the Twins.
Yeah, you'd be up in the NL West 3 games. You'd be up in the Central 6 games in the NL. You'd be up in the NL East by 2 games over the Braves. Really, the only team better than you right now, record-wise, is the Rays.
Tampa Bay. Yeah, that's it.
And you play them this weekend.
You're the second best team record-wise in baseball right now if you're the Texas Rangers. And if you would have asked me, and I guess you did ask me this about a month ago, you said, would the Rangers be in first place at the end of May? And I said, it's going to be close. And then they just have gone on this absolute tear, and they and Josh Young has been a huge part of that, which has been fun to watch because you don't see a ton of rookies just come to them and look like this. He got the average up above 290 at one point. I think it's a little bit back down now. He struggled the last few days, but the hit streak was awesome. Just the fact that guy, what he gives you in a lineup as far as just being solid. You know what you're going to get from Josh Young every single day, and you never have to worry about that dude. Like, that's what Bruce Bochy wants. That's the kind of lineup Bruce Bochy had in San Francisco. That's why he was so good in San Francisco. He had the Buster Posies. He had the Pablo Sandovals in his prime. He had those guys that could just go out there and win ball games. He had Brandon Crawford at shortstop. That was an everyday shortstop. You never had to worry about what you're going to get from Brandon Crawford at shortstop, ever.
Yep.
Never had to worry about it. And Bruce Bochy just brings kind of this. Everybody says that managers don't do much in the major leagues, but the manager sets the tone for a team in the big leagues. Like, that's what a manager does in pro baseball. Now, the minor leagues is different because everybody's out for themselves. You're trying to get to the big leagues. The manager is just there to make out a lineup card and then tell you you're going to AA or AAA to the show. Like, that's what a manager does in pro ball in the minor leagues. In the major leagues, the manager sets the tone for the whole entire ball club. And it's a ton different with Bruce Bochy as it was with the previous regimes.
Yeah.
And you see that on the field and in the lineup.
Well, Chris Woodward just didn't understand days off and rest and winning a series versus sweeping a series. You don't have to sweep everything. This is what Ron Washington was so good at. And this is why Bruce Bochy gave 4 guys days off against and then you lost 1-0 and everyone's freaking out. Oh, we lost the game. Why do we have 4 guys off? Because then you get 2 days off and you're fresh for the Rays.
Fact.
Like,
yeah.
Think about it for 1 second. And I know we were all upset Josh didn't play
on Texas Tech night.
But what did he do since?
Yeah.
He's been on absolute fire.
Torn it up.
Because he got a day off. And Woodward was so analytical that he just didn't understand the locker room, and Bruce Bochy does. And I have been very impressed with Bochy coming in. And I think if you had the same talent and you had Chris Woodward, this team would be 30 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, is Bruce Bochy good for 10 wins this year?
Mm-hmm. As soon as they hired Bruce Bochy, I said that the Rangers just improved their record by adding Bruce Bochy as the manager. Like, Bruce Bochy he doesn't really lose unless his front office tells him, hey man, listen, we're not going to have it. We don't have the pieces this year for you. Let's go out there, put out a lineup. We're going to throw a bunch of rookies in your face, go out there and play. That's what happened late in San Francisco. And Bruce was like, I'm sick of this crap. I'm out.
He's here to win.
Yeah, I'm here to win ball games, not lose ball games, so you can get better draft stock. But anyway, yeah, I think Bruce Bochy does give you 10 more wins than what Woodward could give you, if not 15 to 20 more, because he knows how to manage a major league ball game. He knows how to manage major league guys. He's been in it. He's won in it. He knows everything about it. And the game has changed so much as far as the analytics and the stats. But in Bruce Bochy's world, he hasn't changed what he does. Like, he's just a steady guy, and he's a steady force in that locker room. He's a lot like you said it. Ron Washington and Bruce Bochy have a lot of similarities. Now, Ron Washington was way more, mannerisms and energetic and all these things. Boch is just
our seats into his mouth.
Yeah, Boch is just this steady dude. Like, he's the guy you sit out on the back porch, have a glass of whiskey with, and just talk about baseball for hours, and you're fine.
Yeah,
like, that's Bruce Bochy. Ron Washington's going to get out there and try and teach you the game a whole lot more. I mean, look at Josh Young as a rookie. He has the 11th best average in the American League, the 11th best batting average in the American League as a rookie. He's hitting .293.
Go vote for him to be an all-star.
No, if he's not an all-star, he's better than Aaron Judge. He's better than Randy Arozarena. We're talking about 2 perennial all-stars, 2 guys that, if their careers continue trending the same way, they're going to be 2 of the best outfielders to play in the American League East in the 2020s.
He's got a better average than Aaron Judge.
Well, yeah, he's not going to hit his money. I mean, he's got 12 home runs. Aaron Judge only has 19.
Yeah, only 19. Aaron Judge has an OPS of 1,078.
Would Aaron Judge have 19 home runs at Globe Life Field, though? Like, that's the question I have. He wouldn't.
Maybe not, but Josh Young is very good. I don't know that he's Aaron
He's
Judge.
Not going to – Josh Young is probably always going to hit for a higher average than Aaron Judge, to be honest with you.
But who would you rather have on your team right now, Aaron Judge or Michael Young?
Josh Young? Yeah.
No, Michael Young. I mean,
Michael Young? The third baseman, Michael Young? Oh, Aaron Judge? Why? That's not even a question.
You're talking average or home runs.
Yeah.
Would you rather have 200 hits or 50 home runs?
I'd rather have Bo Bichette, who's hitting 326 and has 14 home runs, to be honest with you.
Yes, and he's been very good as well.
Loved his dad.
Also, if you go to just third baseman, you'll find lots and lots of Josh Young is the best kind of stuff. Most runs.
Second in average.
Second in hits, right there with average. 12 home runs, second in home runs.
Second in RBI. No.
Home runs. Patrick Wisdom got in front of him.
RBIs, he's 4th in RBI, or tied for 3rd in fourth in RBI. Yeah, he's got 38 with Paredes.
Second in OPS. He's got the best slugging percentage.
Rafael Devers is hitting 243, but he has 50 RBIs this year for the really not great Boston Red Sox.
So, I mean, Josh Young is the best third baseman in the American League right now.
Feels like it.
I mean, and defensively, you're right there too. I mean, you can't really argue it.
No, you can't. You can't argue what he's done on the defensive side either. You look at the WAR stats, he's second in the American League in WAR next to Matt Chapman, who is probably the best defensive third baseman in the big leagues. Josh is at a 2.0 WAR, and Matt Chapman's at a 2.8. And that's wins above replacement for those that don't know what WAR is. That means every time Josh Young is on the field, you win 2 more games than if somebody else his backup is playing. That's a big difference. A 2+2 WAR is huge. Now, Matt Chapman's hovering around 3, and Matt Chapman has been an all-star how many years in a row now?
A bunch.
In my mind, he's the best defensive third baseman, if not the best third baseman. Of course, this year he's struggling a little bit on the offensive side. He's hitting 273, but
in the American League.
Yeah, in the American League. That's what I'm talking about. In the American League. No, Nolan Arenado is the best third baseman in baseball.
Right.
What are you talking about? It's not even close.
I was getting
No, I'm going to the American League.
Right.
Nolan Arenado plays in the National League. We don't care about him right now.
Okay. We cared about him.
Even though he helped the Rangers with a big inning the other day by missing that and win the game on a walk-off by
yes, he did.
Not going back. He made a non-Nolan Arenado play. It's not an error. It's a base hit, but
When
he usually makes that play.
He was mad at the shortstop for not getting that one. I think
it's Tommy Edmonds' fault.
Yeah, it always is.
It's
always blame,
especially if you're the veteran third baseman. You're going to the Hall of Fame. It's always the other guy's fault.
I think he's got 8 Gold Gloves in a row or something crazy.
Yeah, he's gonna have to have a new house just to keep all his Gold Gloves and awards.
All right, final thoughts. I think I'm about done.
I think we were both right on the 2-2 guess on the regional on our picks last week.
Yep.
The Rangers really looking forward to that series this weekend. And then, even though Tech's not playing, college baseball and the regional, super regionals, and then heading to Omaha is the best time of year for baseball. I love this time of year.
Give me 4 teams in Omaha.
Florida. I think Florida wins the national championship just because of their pitching. Wake Forest is good. LSU, really good.
Okay, give me some past the top 3 seeds.
LSU's a 5 seed.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think TCU.
Okay.
TCU is my
they're your dark horse?
Dark horse, yeah. Even though I hate to say it, it bothers me to say TCU is the best team right now, the hottest team, but I really think TCU might be the hottest team in college baseball right now. They're playing really well, and Oral Roberts is one of those teams that could end up being an Omaha surprise as well. So, and that'd be kind of cool.
Let's just pick everything real quick. Tennessee or Southern Miss?
Tennessee.
I'll go Tennessee. Florida, you already said. I'll pick Florida as well over South Carolina.
Yeah.
Virginia, Duke.
Give me the Who's.
I'll take Duke. I hate that, but we got to be.
Yeah, I just can't. I couldn't make myself pick Duke.
Stanford, Texas.
Stanford. In Stanford, I think they win.
I'll take Stanford as well.
I can't believe A&M lost to Stanford in 2 games.
TCU, Indiana State.
TCU.
Yeah, TCU. Oregon,
2.
Oregon, Oral Bob.
Oral Bob.
Give me the Golden Eagles.
Give me the Golden Eagles, baby. Tulsa till I die.
And then LSU, Kentucky. You're taking LSU.
Yeah, go Tigers.
Take them too.
Go Tigers.
And then Bama, Wake Forest.
Wake Forest.
I'll take Wake Forest.
Finally, Wake Forest finally gets the College World Series.
That comes down to Duke, Virginia. I think pretty much everything else we were the same.
Really? We went straight.
All right. $1. $1, Carson. Duke, Virginia. You on?
Yeah, sure.
Handshake. All right. All right. That's the Rob Breaux Show. We'll be back next Friday with Carson. Be back Monday with myself. We'll see you then.
Peace.